This is your friendly neighborhood PhD, and you're listening to the TyePod.
Hi, everybody. It's another episode of the TyePod. And today I am talking with Jessie Myers, who has some experience with chronic illness and I think some visible and invisible disability at some point. But yeah, I'll definitely get into some details on that. But it's great to have you. And thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. And I've been looking at some of your content too. And I think that a lot of the disability community probably resonates with, with what you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I've had so many people reach out to me since I've kind of started putting my story out there, and just little things where people are like, you know what? I had the guts to speak up to my doctor today. I'm like, yay!
Right.
So
Yeah,
like that makes it so worth it to me.
it does. It does. And I don't know, it's nice when you can help just like one person with the tiniest thing. It really makes a difference.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as your social media, like how long have you been kind of sharing your story and putting it out there?
So for years, quite honestly, I mean, this new Pretty Rude JJ endeavor has been pretty recent, but I have
Okay.
been on social media for years, in different forms. Like when Vine was a thing, I was pretty big on Vine.
Oh man, I miss Vine.
I miss Vine, right? And then I switched gears to TikTok for a bit and
Okay.
tried some other things, and then I just kind of fell out of it. But my niche has always kind of been like focused on mental health
Mm,
or self-help kind of stuff,
right.
or just things along those lines, just kind of trying to be encouraging to others.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
And
been an on and off thing forever.
yeah, and I sense like a little bit of, sarcasm on some of the videos too, and like, kind of some humor, which I really appreciate. So, that's kind of, I think a lot of us like that kind of approach.
I mean, I feel like laughter really is the best medicine, right? And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, like, if you really sit and think about all the crap you're going through, it's going to beat you
Mm,
down. You have to make it funny, right?
right.
And it can be funny. That's really how I've gotten through much of my life, is just trying to bring humor to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel that, and a little bit of looking on the bright side, but also just, kind of having that little bit of dark humor here and there too. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
helpful for sure.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. So
Little dark and
speaking
twisted
of
didn't hurt anybody.
exactly, speaking of dark and twisted, your username is Pretty Rude JJ, right? So
It
like how did that
is.
come about, and like what is that kind of, I guess, mission of that name?
Yeah, so it's kind of two parts. So JJ is a nickname I've always had since childhood, so it's just kind of stuck throughout the years, and it's always been kind of part of my persona and alias, if you will, online.
Mm-hmm.
But the Pretty Rude part, I was thinking about it. I was like, when did that come up? And I think it came up a while ago, actually, when I was trying some art stuff and I started doing like sassy art where I'd like make a beautiful flower and be like, eat shit,
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
because I was like, whatever, it's funny. So that kind of was a name that already existed a while ago. When my chronic illness and everything really ramped up for me,
Mhm.
it kind of brought on a new meaning of like, yeah, you know what? Being chronically ill is pretty freaking rude.
Yeah.
I have things I
Well,
want to do,
right
like
away I
this
thought
is
about that
rude.
little viral video thing, that was saying this is pretty fucking rude. I
This
was
is
like,
pretty fucking rude, right?
yeah,
And then,
yep.
like, also, I think my attitude in general, too, like, sometimes I definitely come off as being abrasive. I've never really been that way. I used to very much be a very sweet people pleaser, but over the years, with being chronically ill and fighting with medical professionals, I have
Oh
got
yeah.
a new voice, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, sometimes I come off as being rude, and I will always own it and apologize after, but it is what it is. I got shit to do, man.
Right,
You
right.
know
And
what
and I
I
mean,
mean?
I think like we go through enough years and enough like bullshit with all of the variables going on with this, that it's just like whatever that fake people pleasing thing is, it just like erodes away, I think, over time.
It really does. Like
Yeah.
the other week I was at the doctor's, and it was this whole thing of like my referral was there. I know it was there because I called them and I made sure, right? And I went in for the appointment, and then they're like, "Do you have the referral with you?" I said, "Nope, but you guys do." And they kept trying to come back at me like, "Yeah, but you were supposed to bring it." I said, "Nope. I called you on such and such day at such and such time, so I know you have it." Okay. Sure enough, they found it. And
Yeah.
afterwards, I was like, "Listen, I'm sorry I was so firm, but like I know I did my part. It's on you
Yep.
now. I mean,
Yep.
I'm here. I'm here for the appointment. We're going to do this."
And I keep thinking too, like that those little things may seem insignificant to the people trying to like have you bring the form or whatever, but those are triggering like comments or stress points for us when there's
Yeah.
already, I mean, getting there is stressful, getting everything together. And then when you get more grief from that, just simple things that they should already have in the system.
Right,
It's
exactly. Things that are
yeah,
literally part of their job.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I know this because I used to do reception work. I'm not just assuming things. I know that's
You've
part of their
seen you've
job.
seen behind the scenes. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I definitely feel you there. But like as far as your diagnosis and everything, like what specifically is it that you're dealing with, and like what was the journey to find out and sort of treat that, like however much detail, you feel comfortable sharing.
It is a long story.
Yeah.
So I've really been dealing with illness for quite some time. I wasn't officially diagnosed with anything until 2014. And so that was in my early mid 20s, right? So my entire life really is like really strange unexplained health issues. So for example, when I was in elementary school, if I went a little too hard in gym class, I would get ill, like dizzy, nauseated, having to lay down, sometimes
Mhm.
blacking out, and it was just never really looked into when I was a kid for a few reasons. I mean, because of where I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of medical resources or education, right?
Mhm.
And people like me flew under the radar because it just wasn't enough to catch their attention. Also, I have a sister who is autistic. So she definitely took priority over any needs I had, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, over the years, kind of struggled with that stuff. In my early 20s, it started kind of ramping up with being really intolerant to heat, having random bouts of dizziness and fatigue, all of them unexplained. Every time I went to the ER, they were just like, "Oh, you're dehydrated," or "Is it near your period?" or "Are you stressed right now?" And I'm just like,
Of
"Yo, this is
course.
not normal, you guys. What are you talking about?" So like every time I went to the ER, it was just nothing, right? So then I finally got like really sick in 2014, where I was having headaches every single day. I was weak. Like I just could not get my act together.
Mhm.
I went through tons of testing, neurology, ENT. They're like, it's migraines, or maybe there's something going on with your inner ear. Tested for Lyme, autoimmune diseases, all the MRIs, CAT scans, everything you can think of.
Mhm.
At one point, they were throwing so much medication at me, I had to go to cardiology because my heart started acting up, right? And nothing was improving. I was sick for 2 years. So finally, I met a doctor who was like, okay, we're going to try doing this a little differently. And we took more of a holistic approach.
Mhm.
So we did, diet elimination to see were there foods that were triggering my symptoms. We did acupuncture. I tried Reiki. I mean, everything.
Mhm.
And nothing was really helping. So finally, we kind of came to the conclusion of, well, the pain, the fatigue, I think this is fibromyalgia. Okay, cool. What do we do about that? So then we talked about just lifestyle changes and things like that. All
Mhm.
right. And I managed for years. I was fine. Like things would bother me here and there, like especially in the summer. If it was too hot, I would
Mhm.
start having
Right.
symptoms again. Many of my symptoms were very related to stress. If there was any kind of stress or chaos going in my life, I would flare up real bad, right? So I have managed all this time with so 10 years basically, I managed, right? And then just this past spring in May, I had my big collapse. So back in February of 2024, I started not feeling well. And
Mhm.
at this time, I was working as a preschool teacher. And I kept having to cut back my hours at work because I was sick all the time.
Mhm.
I couldn't get through the day. Or if I did get through the day, by the time I got home, I was on the couch and useless. It just wasn't working. And then one day I had a migraine.
Mhm.
I went to bed, woke up the next day, still had migraine, went back to sleep, woke up, and I couldn't move. Like quite literally, I was so fatigued that I was just like,
Just,
I couldn't even like lift my hand up to my face. I couldn't chew.
mhm.
I needed two people to assist me to the bathroom, like it was really bad. Um, and so since then, I've been kind of in between two states because
Mhm.
my home state doesn't have a lot of resources. And they kind of look at you like, oh, well, you have fibromyalgia. What do you want us to do about it?
Yeah.
So I've been seeking care elsewhere.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of where I'm at. So I have so many like symptoms that are a big unknown
Mhm.
because I have this label of fibromyalgia and they're satisfied with that, whereas I'm not.
So basically, when they diagnose that, it's just you have it, and like
It,
that's about it.
right. And even now, like I just
Uh-huh.
saw my primary care this week and she was like, oh, well, you do have the fibromyalgia diagnosis. I said, yes, I do. You are right. There's something else going on and it's getting to a
Yeah.
point where I can't manage it. I'm unable to work. So like we need to look elsewhere and figure out what to do.
Mhm.
So anyway, big unknowns right now.
Yeah.
I'm questioning Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I really think that is something for me. I am questioning POTS. I actually have a tilt table test coming up next week.
Oh, okay.
I see a geneticist in December. So I'm hoping to get some answers soon, but for a long time there haven't been answers except for fibromyalgia and really
Right.
no real treatment plan for it.
Right. And so like do they recommend anything for fibromyalgia? Like I don't
So in my
It's
home state,
uh
I will say no, right? They might offer you something like Lyrica or something
oh,
like that
okay.
to help with inflammation and muscle pain. But
Okay.
overall, they kind of just brush it off. So it's interesting because I've recently relocated, right?
Mhm.
And the doctors I'm seeing here are like, yeah, no, fibro's kind of a big deal, babe, And I've been
Yeah.
so conditioned to learn that, oh, fibro's just fibro. So like
It's
I
just
think
written off. Yeah.
right. So I think that's part of my problem too, where I'm so gung ho to find this other answer because
Right.
people just look at fibro and are like, whatever. And then I'm left here not able to get disability, not able to get a job,
Well, I was
not
going to
able
ask
to
you kind of
properly
what,
treat this.
right, right. Like, dealing with something where you can't work and you can't get disability. Like, I mean, that kind of just leaves you sort of hanging, waiting for something, right? Like,
It's infuriating. And I mean, I've been
yeah,
working my entire life. I have been working since I was 14 years old.
yeah.
I was a social worker for a long time.
Well, I saw that you've done that, and then teaching obviously too,
Yeah.
and
So like doing things to kind of give back to my community, and
right,
also understanding the disability process, helping other people with that process. And now I'm in the middle of it and it's a nightmare.
right, right. And that, I mean, that has to be really, challenging to be on that side of it too, where like and like you knowing more probably than most because you were in that space and still
Mhm.
not being able to get, the help that you need. And it's just infuriating how many times this seems to happen.
It
And
happens a lot because I
yeah,
mean, I've always been kind of aware, but as of recently, I've really done a deep dive to kind of see like, okay, I know there's other people going through this. How severe
yeah,
is it? It's pretty freaking severe.
hmm,
And it's especially women,
hmm,
which is very interesting to me. And a lot of these women are late diagnosed autistic and ADHD, which is also something
right,
I'm looking into. Um, it's all so fascinating to me, and there
hmm,
is an epidemic happening, and the medical professionals need to get on board.
right,
Something needs to change because this is a crisis. I was just listening to someone the other day. I wasn't thrilled about the way she said it, but her
hmm,
message in a nutshell was there are too many disabled people right now, and we simply don't have the space or resources for it. And it's so freaking true.
right,
And so, like, what can we do about this?
hmm,
And really, it starts with the medical professionals caring. And you
right.
wouldn't think you'd have to say that because you would assume someone going into medical profession, someone who's a doctor, someone
You would
who
like to
is,
think the intent is always, to help people.
yes,
And
but
you're right.
unfortunately, there's a lot of doctors who are there just to be a doctor and get
Or
their
like for
paycheck and
the,
do their bare
yeah, for the
minimum.
money and the prestige and like to prescribe you, like 50,000 drugs to try
Yep.
or something. It's just, yeah, I've experienced a bunch of that, and like being someone with muscular dystrophy, like I've kind of known for a long time that this is what it is. And there's still, doctors that like, well, I had a pulmonologist who was like, well, I didn't know you could have a tracheostomy and a ventilator together. And I'm just like, what, like, how is that possible? How are you not trained for these things? So
The
like you
amount of
said,
times that I am more educated than my doctor is
right,
insane.
right. And again, more stress because of that, because you have to be the expert. I mean, in everything that,
Yeah.
is going on.
So you do the research ahead of time to prepare for your visit with a
Right,
professional.
right.
And hopefully you have a nice professional because I have run into professionals who do not like it when you do your own research
Oh
and they
yeah,
will give you pushback simply
definitely.
because you are asking for what you want.
Right, right. Whether it's, I mean, yeah, like you're self-advocating, and even if you do it politely, some of them take that as a direct like power challenge or
Yep.
something, it feels like. So you're right. I mean, like sort of, I guess, going back and rebuilding the training and what's involved in people becoming medical professionals. And and it's hard because there are some that do their job and got into it for the right reasons, and it obviously is, I mean, I'm sure that's really difficult for them to be placed in that zone with the rest of them, but
Yeah, that's what causes burnout when you're
it's a
somebody who
major
cares.
problem.
Yeah.
Right. And then COVID, obviously, like that accelerated all burnout, I think, too. And it's just this layer by layer thing. But you mentioned that stress sort of pushed everything further with your symptoms and everything. Like how, I'm curious if you have strategies that you found that still work consistently, or is it something you're just constantly trying to deal with?
So, I'm still figuring it out, especially
Mhm.
because my body has changed so much since the spring. So there's some things that I used to be able to tolerate, no problem, and now I
Mhm.
cannot. And that ties into some mental health stuff for me as
Mhm.
well. Like, for example, I used to not have a problem with violent movies. Like I could watch it, hear
Oh
it, and it
yeah.
wouldn't be a big deal to me. I don't know what it is, but for the last couple months, if I even hear anything that is kind of violent, like screaming or hitting or anything, like I'm like, nope, shut it off, shut it off, shut it off. Like I can't, I can't, I can't, I
Can't
can't.
have it.
And I never used to be like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
things changed. So like
Right.
my stress, I've had plenty of stresses this summer, obviously. But like I feel like with the therapy that I've been getting and also the medication I'm on, I've been handling it pretty well. Like I feel like I'm able to kind of stop and regulate my emotions before I'm reacting, which is the huge thing for me, really, is just processing what's going on before I'm like
Right. And like for processing, what do you do? Like, do you like have an approach to that?
So I definitely have learned when to like just be quiet, right? I used to be somebody where if I was feeling something, I'd be like coming after you because I couldn't stop. And now I know to kind of take a beat. So that helps a lot. Done DBT practice. I don't know if you know anything about DBT, but that helps
I
a
don't
lot.
know.
Oh, okay. So DBT is great. It's a form of therapy where basically you retrain your thought process, right? So it's all about like taking in the information, reflecting on it, and then figuring out how you're going to respond, you know? So it just really helps kind of slow your brain down and evaluate the data versus relying solely on your emotions.
And is that something where you just sort of like close your eyes and like think through it, or do you get like journaling
No,
type
there's
of thing? Like
worksheets, man.
I
There's
was gonna
actually
say, I
a
thought
site. There's a
yeah,
site. If you go on to Google and you just like type in free DBT,
yeah,
there's a website with all these things that you work through at your own pace, but they have acronyms for everything. Like
of
Dear
course.
Man. Dear Man is an acronym for when there's something pressing that you want to bring up with somebody that might be emotionally charged and you want to figure out how to do it in a way that might be successful, right?
Okay, right.
So like there's so many different tools to use, but it also talks about emotional regulation. Like there's TIP, right? Where that's temperature, intense exercise, something I can't remember, but basically it's just things that you can do if you're having a heightened moment to help bring yourself back, you know? So things like that.
Right. No, like those, I think those are really useful. And I've found that more and more as I age, and a lot of people I talk to are like this too, like as you get older and start trying to figure out how to handle these things, you know, something like that seems to help, you know, like journaling and therapy and all those things are, you know, for me in the last probably 3 years, you know, like I found some that are for sure helpful. So yeah, it's like finding whatever tools you can get to sort of reduce some of what you're going through. But that thing you said with the movies, it was really interesting to me because I feel like there's certain things that change probably for a lot of people like that. Like for me, I feel like little noises that used to like never bother me all of a sudden in the last couple of years, it's like, oh, that's annoying. I need noise to drown it out, you know, from somewhere else. So yeah, it's interesting how stuff kind of evolves that way.
But I think it's also too because our bodies have changed, right? Which means the way we interact with our environment has changed, which means the way we perceive things has changed. So like you're forced to slow down. I know that for me. Like I always like when I was working as a preschool teacher, all my coworkers were like, Jess, you have to slow down. Like you are
and that's
sweating.
a job where you can't slow down
You
almost.
can't. You can't. You got a bunch of munchkins running around, right?
Right.
So like having this happen to me to the point where I needed 2 people to help me go to the bathroom. Yo, talk about perspective changing, right?
Right. Well, I very much relate to that, you know, with all the neuromuscular, you know, disease areas, like that's exactly how it becomes, you know, like you get to a point where, you know, you've got to at least have one person, maybe a lift or 2 people, like you said. And it's until you've actually experienced it, I don't know how they could even imagine or understand anything with it.
It's a whole different level of humility, right? It's a whole nother level of acceptance. It's like the simplest thing that should be completely independent and you literally cannot, you know, and it takes something from you, like something that I was really struggling with the first couple of weeks that I got super sick. Like, I mean, I was out of it. I couldn't do anything to the point where like my husband was dressing me, right? And I'm like, I'm not even picking out the fucking clothes I want to wear today. You know, and like, does that really
loss
matter?
of control,
No.
right?
Yeah, you lose your autonomy and you don't even realize it. It just overnight.
Yep. I definitely, you know, I know that very, very well. And it's even after, you know, 20, 30 years of experiencing that, I'm still sometimes at a loss trying to figure out how to handle it, you know? And so like, I definitely relate to that side of it, but it's frustrating and there's no great answers really. I'm curious, like, as far as, you know, people talk about like the burden complex and like your support system taking on all these jobs to try to help you and then you feeling, you know, possibly guilty for that kind of thing. Have you felt that? Like, how have you sort of come out of it?
That is so real. I'm so glad you brought that up because I mean, that is probably my biggest woe for sure. You know, my husband and I just got married in April and then all this went crashing down in May, right? So like talk about the extreme guilt of like, oh my gosh, we're a newly married couple. We're trying to start our life together. And like now he is the sole income and he's my caretaker. Holy shit, that sucks. You know,
both full-time jobs, basically. in a way.
100%,
Yeah,
right. And I know the best thing I can do to help him is to help myself. And sometimes I can't do that very well.
right.
And it causes a lot of stress. Like my husband's wonderful. He's been handling this so well. He is so insanely supportive. But yeah, the guilt definitely creeps in, especially like I said before, I am someone who's been working since I was 14 years old. I have earned my own keep. And so for me to be heavily relying on this other person for my livelihood is incredibly uncomfortable.
Right. Right. No, that's got to take, I mean, even, yeah, it just takes time getting used to it, and like having conversations that you never really thought you would be having probably. But
Yeah.
yeah, that balance is tricky. So like, have you found yourself like finding things that are more, I guess, things you control directly that you can take on? Like, have you like balanced it in a different way maybe than what you did before, as far as, I don't know, like daily tasks and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have a basic understanding that it goes day by day and I can do what I can, right? And
Right.
so he is very good about checking in with me like, "Hey babe, do you have the bandwidth to empty the dishwasher today?" And sometimes I'm like, "Yep, no problem." Other times I'm like,
Yeah.
"When do you need me to do that? Do you need that like right now, or can I do it like when I'm done sleeping in 2
See,
hours?"
I really like that though. I like that day by day thing because it does change,
It
and I think
does.
a
Yeah,
lot of people
some
don't
days I can
understand.
do
They're
a
like,
lot
well,
more, and
one day
some
to
days
the
I
next,
can't do
why?
anything.
Yeah, like why are you different than you were yesterday? And you're like, that's how it goes. Like you have days where everything's fine. Next
Yeah.
day it's total opposite. So,
Yeah, it's not linear. And that's what a lot of
yeah,
people have been kind of expecting from me, which is interesting, right? Because
yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you're not in a wheelchair anymore, right?" I'm like, "Nope, depends on the
See,
day."
and they always assume that there's that progression of like healing or rehab, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna all of a sudden one day it's all gone, and that's not how it works.
No, I
You
mean, they
know?
assume that for your physical health and chronic illness, but they assume that for mental health as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird. I don't get it at all.
Nor do I.
And then like career wise, like everybody's always like, well, what's my 5-year plan? Like, where am I going to be as far as, professional development, all that stuff. And it's just like, I don't even know what 5 years is like. Who knows what's
Right,
going to
right.
happen? Like,
I can't even operate that way. And it's so
yeah.
funny because my husband is very much that person, right? Like every weekend
So
he
he
preps
plans
his
out.
meals
Yeah.
for every single day. He has his lunches ready to go. He knows when he's going to hit the gym. He has everything lined up. He's very organized in that sense.
Mm.
And so he knows what to predict. And like I said, he works out. He's a super athlete. So like for him to go to the gym, like, well, that's just what I do.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm the absolute opposite, where I'm like, how am I feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
What am I capable of at this moment?
Right,
And he's
right.
just go, 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 go. So it's a good dynamic in the sense that he's able to keep up and do the things that I can't do.
Right.
However, the guilt comes in.
Still there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, even as much as open as you are and as much as you talk about it and work through it, like it's still like tapping you on the shoulder like a lot.
It is. And I mean, that
Yeah.
has a lot to do with like just how I am in general and how I've always kind of operated as a career person, but it has a lot to do with like my childhood and all that stuff. And that's a whole nother thing I could go on for days about my mental health story. But all of it really ties in together to kind of make who I am. And
Right.
I think that my superpower though is that I'm insanely aware, right? Which is a blessing and a curse, but
Absolutely.
I'm insanely aware. So it's like I feel like that helps me navigate it a little better versus someone who might be in complete denial.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I know that I had phases of denial, like
Oh,
earlier
hell
on.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I get it.
Well, my whole career as a social worker. So it started out as parent education, right?
Mhm.
So I would work with new moms, pregnant moms, and just kind of teach them about, their pregnancy development, what it would look like when the child is here, parent-child interaction, development milestones, la, 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 la. Then it evolved to me being a home visitor where I was working with families who had gone to child protective services, but their cases were unfounded. And they were like, well, you still need some extra help here. Have this person. So I'd go in as their family specialist and kind of do in-home counseling and goal planning, safety planning, connecting them with resources, that kind of thing. Right. And I mean, I was bomb at it. Okay. However, it killed me. It physically, emotionally killed me because I realized I was chasing my childhood. I realized by interacting with these children and these parents, I was desperately trying to fix what was broken in me. And I was like, oh shit, you can't do that anymore, Jeff.
Yeah. Right. Right. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like that realization that you need to completely change or pivot like your career pathway. That's not easy at all.
No, because I am the type of person when I am in a job, I am in it 110%. I'm
Right.
committed to it. I'm dedicated. I'm passionate. And I think I have put a lot of my identity into my work roles, which is not a good thing. I need to work on that. But I mean, so yeah, it's heavy for me right now not having an identity in that sense. Does that make any sense?
It does. And you're probably sort of looking for something like that again, right? Like even, I mean, I don't know like what kind of the job search it's since I had to quit working too. It's been
Yo,
just
so I've been
yeah,
trying to find things online, like remote
like yeah,
freelance
hybrid
type
remote or
things.
something. Yeah.
Everything is so it's set up like an auction. Like you have to literally like so you have to put up your resume in a way that is you know, something they like to see, presentable, but then
Mhm.
you are literally bidding for a job. So say there's one job for, you know, creating a logo. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. There could be like 18 other people who have bid for that job, and that usually involves money, and then they take the highest bidder and they're like, "Okay, I'll give it to you."
Yeah. That
So you
makes
have to
sense.
pay to find work.
Mhm. Yeah. That's not, not
it,
helpful.
it's been hard. It's been hard
Yeah.
because I am definitely not in a position to hold a
Yeah.
job, especially going somewhere right now. Like it's just my health is too unpredictable. But
Right.
that's kind of why I've been focusing on my art stuff and hoping that
Right.
will take off.
And like the disability, like you've looked into that as an option. Like, is there like any temporary things you found that are kind of helpful
So
with
my
that or
situation's a little whack right now. As I
okay.
mentioned before, I had to switch states.
Right, right.
So right now I still have my house with my husband in my home state, and I'm still in the process of switching everything over to the new
I
state.
see.
So I'm in this weird in between area where
That
I have no choice but to wait.
right. That kind of wrecks everything for
It
sure.
does,
Yeah.
but honestly, if I stayed in my home state and tried to get disability there, I can almost guarantee I would be denied. So there
Mhm.
would be no point in even going that route.
And that fight is a whole nother thing that's huge stress level.
People don't know till you know, man.
Right, right. Yeah. If that's rough. But you mentioned the artwork and everything too. Like I'm curious kind of
Yeah.
how you got into that and like where it's gone, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been an artist my whole
Mhm.
life. I mean, in my house, my childhood home, there's bins full of paper, just
Yeah.
art, you
It's
know,
mostly like drawing and painting and those.
so as a kid, I did a lot of sketching and coloring. I
Okay.
actually I hated painting for a very long time. I felt like I wasn't good at
Interesting.
it,
Yeah.
right? But then I tried watercolor, and it changed my life.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I focus on now. I've always done art here and there. I've never done it seriously, trying to promote it or sell it. It was more of just a therapeutic outlet for me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what kind of inspired this for me this time around was I was looking for I love stickers. I wish I had my water bottle up here because it's slammed with stickers. But anyway, I love stickers. And so I was on Amazon and Etsy and whatever else. I was trying to find
Hmm.
Spoonie stickers,
Oh
like
yeah.
Spoonie
Nice.
chronic illness stickers,
Yep.
right? And I wasn't thrilled with anything I was finding. I was just like either everything looked the same or like it was too like colorful and childlike and bubble letters. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, it's cute. I respect it, but like, I don't want that. So I was like, what if I just start making my own stuff?
Yeah.
And
Add some more attitude in there with yeah.
yeah, why don't I do something that's like a little bit more cliche, a little bit more like on edge, a little bit more humorous, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's kind of where that started. I started working on designs and
Okay.
yeah, and I started putting out my stickers and my prints and yeah, I have some stickers. Can I show you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. And I'm assuming like, do you have these like available for people
Oh yeah,
to get and
100%.
everything? Okay.
Yep. So I'm very active on Instagram.
Mhm.
And if you go to Instagram and just look up Pretty Rude JJ, I have all my links right there in the bio, straight to my
Nice.
stickers, prints, everything else.
Mhm.
So wait, let me show you my first one.
Yeah.
This was my very first one.
Oh, there we go. Nice. That shit happens. Nice. Beauty grows. That says. Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Okay, I see it now.
Yep.
Very cool.
So the
Ooh, I
whole
like that.
thing with this was like shit happens, right? So
Yeah.
shit equals fertilizer, and then when you put
Very
fertilizer
true.
down, it
It's
makes
very
beautiful
true.
flowers, right? And
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people need to go through some shit before they develop into
Right.
a beautiful being or their true selves or whatever it may be. So that's kind of what inspired this.
That's a good way to put it. I appreciate that like level of thought and humor for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was my first one.
I would think that a lot of like the chronic illness and disability community, like that kind of stuff really goes over well, at least I think.
I would hope so, you know, and like my goal was because like the first couple stickers I put out were just black and white. And
Yeah.
I do have some color options as well. But someone was like, well, why are you doing it that way? I was like, because I want it to appear as if it is completely innocent at first and looks really cool and badass. And then you get up close to it and you're like, oh,
There's some
I want the shock value, you know?
yeah, yeah. Almost like a I don't know, like a modified fortune cookie type approach or something,
Yeah,
but in a little more
I like
humorous way
that.
though. Yeah, yeah.
And obviously I put my stickers all over my wheelchair. So when I'm
Of
out and about,
course.
we're
I
like,
mean,
ooh, what's that?
see, that's the other thing is you can like accessorize everything when you have stickers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love stickers. It's a problem.
Same. Ooh, I like that one too.
This is utter bullshit.
Perfect. Oh, that's hilarious. And the color too. That one has color.
This one does have color. This one has color. So yeah, that's just a couple examples of some of the stuff I do.
That's very cool. And that's like a nice, I don't know, I would think like escape from reality a little bit.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's super therapeutic. It's fun. It always makes me happy to look at my stuff. And, you know, I think as I grow and other people start to see and appreciate it, I'm hoping to build a little sticker army, you know, like.
Yeah, totally. That's a great plan. So like, have you found people reaching out to you like on that side of things, or even on just like managing or dealing with disability? Like have anyone like contacted you on that?
Yeah, so people have definitely reached out to me and just kind of like ask a little bit about my story, and just kind of like they come to me for advice a lot. They're like, "Hey, you know, this is what's going on with me and my doctor said blah blah blah. What do you think?" And I'm always happy to help people, because there are some people who'd be like, "Screw you, figure it out by yourself," because that's how I had to do it. I'm never going to put you in that position ever. Right. So, you know, people come to me all the time like, "Hey, how would you have this conversation with your doctor? Hey, I went to A, B, and C specialists, but we haven't found anything. What should I do next? Hey, you know, I'm curious about blah, blah, blah. Where should I start?" And I'm always humble enough to be like, I don't know if I don't know, but I'll do my best to help you figure it out.
Right. And I mean, sometimes that real world experience, like obviously, you know, when you do that, you're not like trying to be medical professional, whatever, but it's just like sharing your experience and your thoughts and like opinions on that. And I think that's honestly, that's one of the more like powerful forms of advocacy, in my opinion, you know, because like
it has to be, because I mean, I understand we need therapists, okay, and I understand we need people like life coaches and things like that. True. I really struggle when those people's motives are money driven, because
and there are a lot of those,
right? And there's so many people who are in this position who cannot afford those things. So you know what? I'm going to help you if it's within my capacity. I'm going to help you.
And that's another thing about, you know, the disabled community on social media. I feel like is there's many more people that are willing to just share and help and, you know, talk through things without having the money factor, you know, and it's that financial thing adds so much pressure, you know, and then from the other end, when they're charging so much money and they know you can't afford that, I mean, it's just a really hard thing to deal with, you know, and it, for me, it's like, it changes how you ask for help, because you don't feel like you can do that with the money side, even though you need help maybe more than what you can afford, you know? And so like, if it wasn't for that community, for people willing to just share and give advice on their experience, I'm like, what? I mean, you're kind of up shit creek at that point if you don't have resources.
And it's like you need to hear other people's experiences and perspectives. Absolutely. Because as we know, doctors cannot always be trusted, or doctors will neglect or gaslight. And if you don't know better, you don't know better. And having people to just kind of be like, whoa, red flag, you know, like you need that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. But I wanted to ask you a little bit too about kind of any stigma or like ableism things you've personally gone through. And I know that there's probably several things, but like a few examples of things you've gone through with that.
Okay. So like I said, I use a wheelchair from time to time, and there are certain places that are not wheelchair friendly. Washington, D.C. being one of them. I was shocked. I went there for 4th of July this year, and there were a few times that I had to get up out of my chair to navigate sidewalks. I have also noticed that people kind of don't give a rat's ass if you're in a wheelchair. I actually had 2 people like topple on top of me because they were trying so hard to get around my wheelchair. I am not kidding.
Serious?
Like,
was it crowded? I had to,
like, hi, excuse me.
Yeah. So like it was just like on the sidewalk or something? Like they just... This was
after the fireworks, and it was a little crazy, and
so
we were trying to get back to the train. Yeah. And it was so packed that I couldn't even get to the elevator. There was no way. So I had to stand up with 2 of my friends holding me while my husband carried my wheelchair.
And your wheelchair there, yeah.
And I was like, you know, trying not to fall over because I had already been out all day. It was late at night. I was exhausted. And, you know, and then people are just like walking in front of me, and
there's no awareness, right? Like,
so my friend started at one point yelling like, move, she has fibromyalgia.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, no one knows what that means, but thank you. I love the passion.
That reminds me of, I used to drive one of those little like 3-wheeled, you know, motorized scooters, and they have a little horn, right? But that thing, no one can hear that. I'm just like, I mean, we need like an air horn or loudspeaker.
People don't care. I mean, whenever I'm in my wheelchair, I am constantly hollering at people because they whack their ankles on my footrest all the time because they're simply not paying attention. And because they're like in their phone or whatever.
And then it's just like, hey, if I clip your foot or your heel, like, you know, not my fault. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you're right. Those crowds too. Like I remember I was at a sporting event. We had to go in the concourse because there was a lightning delay. And I kid you not, there were like, I parked in a place. I was up against like a beam and a trash can, like trying to nestle my chair in a space. and there were still people crawling over
Yeah,
me.
they don't
And
care.
I'm just like, do you not see what's
No.
going on? And you know,
And
yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, and especially for me because I can move around and I don't appear as
True.
somebody who needs a wheelchair, so they assume,
Then
right?
there's that judgment, yeah.
So it's hard. Like there's even times where I'm in the grocery store, right, and I'm using the motorized cart, and there's something up high, and I'm capable. I
Right.
can stand up and reach it, but sometimes I don't dare do it because I'm too afraid of someone saying shit, and that's crazy. I should not feel that way. Okay,
You're always
it's hard
worrying
enough
about
for
it.
me.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But it's weird though how that stuff just still creeps in. You know, like
It does.
I
And
remember when I used to drop something and bending over to pick it up, while I could do it, it was a major scene. You know, and so like I feel you on that one.
yeah, and just having people stare at you when you don't want people staring at you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Have there been cases where maybe you've talked with someone, or maybe they had stigma and it got better? Like, have you had anybody kind of listen or talk through anything like that, or have you been in a position to do that as much?
So I would say a little bit, like, probably with my father-in-law, right? So
Okay.
he's in his 70s, you know, stuck in his ways kind of thing.
Right.
And, you know, his way of approaching things is humor,
Mm.
which we talked about can be fine, but sometimes it's sarcastic humor.
And if it's with the wrong tone and the wrong topic,
And
it's
the
not
wrong
good.
time, right?
Yep.
So I had gone to a concert and, you know, I did all the things right. I rested
Yeah.
before the concert. I was in the wheelchair the entire time. I ate and drank well. Whatever I was supposed to do. And it still bit me in the ass, right? I felt like
Yep.
crap after, got really sick. So anyway, the next day, he had made a comment about something like, "Oh, you're complaining after you went out and had fun." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh,
Dad, like I have chronic illness." He's like, "Oh, now we're making excuses." I was like, "I'm done.
you're
I'm
kidding
done.
me.
I'm done. I'm done." You know,
How do you navigate that kind of thing? I mean, it's just impossible.
it's hard. You know, it was one of those moments where I was just kind of like, not now, you know, not now. And my husband ended up going and talking to him about it, and it's been fine ever since.
Okay, well, that's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's super respectful. And I know he didn't mean
Like,
any
however
harm.
you have to work through stuff like that. And you're right, sometimes they don't realize maybe that.
And they don't. And people
Yeah.
really don't. Like, even little things like when I'm in a wheelchair, please don't come up next to me and pretend to race me. That's not fucking funny.
Right.
Why do people
Why
do
is
that?
it with the racing thing
Oh
with the
my God,
wheelchairs?
I
I'm just
can't. Or like when I say I'm tired, no, you don't understand the kind of tired I'm talking about, baby. Okay,
Right,
like I
right.
respect you're tired. Please respect mine.
Yeah, and it's different. I mean, even for people that are non-disabled, like their level of tiredness changes too. So it's just kind of a human individual thing. And then when you have chronic illness, you know, it's a level beyond. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
that. Those assumptions aren't good.
But I've even had to have
But-
these conversations with my husband, interestingly enough. Like for instance,
In the beginning or more recent, or just kind of all over the place?
more recent with like
Okay.
having to use the mobility aids more often and stuff because
Yeah.
like we are spontaneous people. We're just like up and go, you know, do things,
Right,
right? And we
right.
love to travel, whatever. And so like since having a wheelchair, it's difficult. It takes up space, you know? And especially with us going back and forth for medical visits,
Yeah.
it's a pain in the ass. So I get it. So this last time when we were getting ready to leave, I was like, "Okay, did you get my wheelchair?" And he's like, "Oh no, I wasn't going to pack it this time." And I was like, "Why?" You
Yeah,
know? And he was like,
yeah.
"Well, room." And I said, "Yeah, room. Okay, cool. Isn't it up to me what mobile aids I have with me or not?" I
Right.
said, "Listen, you need to start adjusting, preparing for the wheelchair at all times. Okay.
Right.
Like I understand that this is the way it used to be, but this is how it is now.
Well, and
Do
it's
not decide for me what aid I get to
exactly.
use."
Exactly. It's like a preemptive thing too sometimes, right? Like you may not think you're going to need it, but if you don't have it and you do, then you're
Right.
stuck. I mean, so
Right.
it's
And it takes away, and that wheelchair has given me so much freedom. Like, I
Right.
mean, the fact that I went to Washington, D.C., the fact that I've gone to a couple concerts, the fact that whatever, that is because of a wheelchair. If I didn't have a
Yeah.
wheelchair, I wouldn't be doing any of those things.
right. And that always reminds me of that thing that's gone on forever where, you know, people assume you're like wheelchair bound or what, like basically it limits you, but it's always the opposite.
The amount
Right.
of people who have said to me, "Oh, you know, don't get too used to the wheelchair because once you're in it, you're screwed." Fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the days I'm in my wheelchair, I absolutely need it. And believe me, I'm not happy about it.
But it also allows you to do the things that you want. I mean,
It
like
allows
that-
me to go to concerts. It allows me to go to the mall. It allows me to go to
Exactly.
the park with my dog. Yeah.
right. And while like those, some people may act like that's not important, but it's important to get out and do stuff and go, you know, to concerts or whatever you
Well,
want to
there's
do.
also the stigma that if you're disabled and ill, you're not allowed to enjoy life.
Exactly. Right.
If you're ill and you're unable to work,
Then automatically there's no
you're
quality
not
of
allowed to have
life.
free time to enjoy your life.
Right. We might as well just be like, you know, vegging out on the couch or something
Right.
24/7. And yeah, you're right. It's such a challenge. But
It really is. And people don't understand, you know, and
Yeah.
I mean, until you're really in it. I mean, there's things I didn't understand until I was really in it.
it's a good
And
point, right?
it's been, and I've always, like I said, I was a social worker and I used to do case management for folks with disabilities. So like, these are things that I know, this is stuff I understand, but until you really live it, you just don't get it.
Right. exactly. And like, do you think there's any way that can be improved at all with, with letting people be aware or like showing them kind of what it takes? Because I haven't found anything that
I know,
is,
right? I
yeah,
mean, that's kind of why I do what I do. And
yeah.
that's why I support other people who tell their stories and aren't being quiet about
Mhm.
the injustices about it, and who are being more open about talking about these things that used to
Yeah.
be pretty freaking taboo, like
Right.
things that were like, no, we don't talk about that because it makes us uncomfortable, or no, we don't talk about that because, well, nothing's going to
Mhm.
change anyway, or whatever it
Mhm.
may be. Let's change those conversations, like
Right.
let's make mental health a more um open thing to chat about. Let's
Yeah.
let's talk about disability and how, like, hey, this affects you
Yeah.
also, but this affects me and you should care because bleh. Like, why should we have these conversations? I mean, I feel like I wish we didn't have to. Like, I wish
Right.
we didn't have to, but the truth is we do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do feel like it's getting a lot better. The younger generations are definitely talking about it more, and I think it's wonderful.
Right. I totally agree. And that it's funny with the mental health thing that has become kind of a more commonplace thing for people to share, unless you're disabled. And then
Mm.
it's just like, well, if you have something physical going on, well, it's like, well, you don't need mental health. Like they
It
don't,
goes hand in hand
it does. It
so
totally does.
much,
Yeah.
so much. I
And
mean,
yeah, like all the physical stuff. I mean, your mental and emotional health, it's all connected. I mean,
mhm.
it's one thing affects the other, and so when you have like some kind of physical thing going on, it's like it can be the most mentally fucking taxing thing to deal with. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think about these people
yeah,
who like get a cold, right? And they're in bed for
yeah.
a week and they're like, oh my God, I'm going stir crazy. I can't wait to get out of here. Yeah.
You don't even know.
You don't
Yeah,
even know.
right. No, you're right. That's exactly. But no, it's really good to get your thoughts and input on that, because I feel like you have kind of both sides of experience to kind of share with people. So like right away, when I saw kind of where you were at, like what your careers were before, and then you're going through some of these health related things, it's like that perspective is so needed out there. And yeah, it's really nice to have you on to talk about that for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. This was awesome. So
Yeah,
much to talk
yeah,
about. I could
I
keep
know.
going.
Well, I can't tell you how many people I visited with, and it's like, yeah, we could have 3 or 4 different conversations about special niche topics, and it's just like, yeah, you can't cover everything in 1 hour or whatever,
No,
but
it's just the rabbit hole goes so
it
much
does.
deeper.
Perfectly said. That is perfectly said. But for people that want to reach out and kind of connect to you, like Instagram is kind of the main like hub,
Yeah,
I guess, to go
yeah.
to.
So I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on
Okay.
Threads, but again, if you go to Pretty Rude JJ on Instagram, you will find links to all my stuff,
Yeah.
including my other business.
Well, and
Pop
I was going to talk to you
portraits.
about that too, but obviously, yeah.
So real quick, I do pet portraits because that is something that people have been ordering. I have
Mm.
been making money with that, so that's super exciting.
And is that watercolor based
It
painting
is.
of?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
So if you have a pet, or a pet that you used to have, it was your soul pet, whatever it may be,
Uh-oh. I have
or
one of those
maybe,
sitting by my door right now. So
right? I know mine's behind me somewhere.
yeah.
And then or if like you want to get a gift for somebody who's a pet lover, whatever it may be, I do 2 sizes. They start at just $30. And you send me your favorite photo. I will communicate with you about any preferences you might want, or any
Yeah.
little things you might want included. And yeah, that's what I've
Yeah.
been doing, and I love it. So much fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. I really love the things that, pets bring in too with that's like a whole nother like therapeutic side, I think,
Oh
of
my gosh, I
yeah,
can't. I don't even know where to start with that. The affection I
exactly.
have for my dog is astronomical.
Hmm. Same here. Same here. So I'm sure at some point I'll be reaching out, about a piece. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome. But I'll
that's
definitely share that, for everybody that listens in. And yeah, looking forward to hopefully, you get all the results back and figure out
oh
what can help.
yes, yes.
But yeah, I
Fingers
sure appreciate
crossed.
the time, and yeah, we'll be in touch, Jesse. I sure appreciate it.